Good morning. As we start a new day, you might notice that the air feels a bit different, and the sky looks more dramatic than usual. Across the region, people are waking up to a spring that doesn't quite fit the script we're used to. Instead of gentle breezes and steadily warming temperatures, there's a sense of unpredictability in the air, a reminder that nature doesn't always follow our expectations. As May begins, we're seeing a weather pattern that's anything but typical. Instead of the usual sunshine and mild afternoons, many areas are experiencing persistent clouds, cooler temperatures, and a general sense of unsettled weather. It's the kind of spring that keeps you guessing. One day you're reaching for sunglasses, the next, you're grabbing an umbrella, or even a jacket. The main culprit behind this unusual pattern is a massive, stubborn, low-pressure system that's parked itself over the Northeast and parts of Canada. This system is unusually persistent, refusing to budge and disrupting the usual spring warm-up that many look forward to. On satellite images, you can see the swirling clouds and the broad reach of this system, stretching across hundreds of miles and influencing weather far beyond its center. This low-pressure system is pulling cold air deep into the central and eastern United States, creating a sharp temperature drop that's caught many off guard. Instead of the short sleeves and sandals we expect in May, people are bundling up in jackets and even scarves. The temperature maps show a dramatic contrast, with much of the east feeling more like late March than early May. But it's not just the cold that's making headlines. The collision of this chilly air with warm, moist air surging up from the south is creating a volatile mix in the atmosphere. When these two very different air masses meet, the result is a recipe for severe thunderstorms, powerful systems capable of producing intense winds, heavy rain, and even hail. We're tracking not just one, but two major storm systems this week. Each of these systems is expected to bring multiple rounds of severe weather to a broad swath of the country, including the Great Plains, the Ohio Valley, and the region known as Dixie Alley. These areas are under heightened alert as meteorologists warn of the potential for damaging winds, large hail, and even tornadoes. Large hailstones could damage cars and roofs, while tornadoes, though unpredictable, are a real threat in these conditions. The skies may look ominous with rotating clouds and sudden downpours, making it crucial for everyone in the path of these storms to stay informed and prepared. Flooding is another major concern, especially in low-lying areas and places where the ground is already saturated from previous rains. Emergency alerts are being sent out, and communities are taking steps to prepare, sandbagging, clearing drains, and making sure families have a plan in case evacuation becomes necessary. Millions of people across several states need to stay alert and ready to act quickly if conditions worsen. This isn't your typical spring pattern. These are highly organized, long-lasting systems that are affecting large areas and bringing a variety of hazards. The scale and persistence of these storms are unusual for this time of year, and they're a reminder of how dynamic and powerful our atmosphere can be. In the next segment, we'll break down the timing and specific threats for each region, so you'll know exactly what to expect and how to stay safe as this unusual weather pattern continues to unfold. Stay with us for the latest updates and expert analysis. Let's dive into the temperature story. This low-pressure system is like leaving the fridge open, letting cold Canadian air spill south. Temperatures are running 10-15 degrees below average across the Great Plains, Midwest, and East Coast. Meanwhile, the West is experiencing above-average warmth, creating a dramatic east-west divide. The sharp boundary between cold northern air and warm Gulf air is where the most intense storms will develop. This pattern means meteorological whiplash. One day, spring. The next, late March. The chill will persist for days, fueling severe storms and impacting everything from agriculture to daily routines. The clash of cold, dry air and warm, moist air is the perfect setup for supercell thunderstorms. This temperature divide is the foundation for the active weather ahead. Let's get specific about the first storm system, already impacting the Gulf Coast this Saturday. Cities like San Antonio, Houston, New Orleans, Mobile, and Panama City face damaging winds and large hail today. There's also a risk for a few tornadoes, especially in Texas, this afternoon and shifting east overnight. Heavy rain could trigger flash flooding in Texas and Louisiana. By Sunday, the severe threat moves into Florida and southern Georgia, with damaging winds, hail, and tornadoes possible. The Storm Prediction Center has issued a slight risk for much of this region. Conditions may become especially favorable for a strong tornado near Cedar Key, Florida. Stay alert. The storm's path is crucial. Today, storms intensify over eastern Texas and Louisiana, targeting Houston and New Orleans. Overnight, the system pushes east, threatening Mobile and the Florida Panhandle while most people are asleep. Make sure you have a way to get overnight weather alerts. By Sunday morning, storms hit northern Florida and southern Georgia, with Tallahassee likely seeing damaging winds. The system races across the Florida peninsula, with the greatest tornado risk over north-central Florida. By Sunday evening, the storms exit into the Atlantic, ending this first severe event. Quick preparation is key as these storms move fast. For Florida, Sunday is the day to stay weather aware. Strong storms hit the Panhandle and Big Bend early, with Tallahassee facing damaging winds in the morning. By late morning, Jacksonville and nearby areas see rapidly worsening conditions, damaging winds, hail, and a tornado risk. Afternoon brings peak storm intensity over north-central Florida, especially near Gainesville and Cedar Key. The I-4 corridor, including Orlando and Tampa, will be impacted by early to mid-afternoon. The severe threat ends by evening as storms move offshore, leaving cooler, calmer weather behind. Secure outdoor items and have a plan to seek shelter if warnings are issued. As the first system finally exits, leaving behind a trail of wet roads and fresh, cool air, the atmosphere barely has time to settle before the next threat emerges on the horizon. Already, another major storm system is brewing to the west, gathering strength and moisture as it prepares to move in early next week. The energy building in the atmosphere is unmistakable, and meteorologists are keeping a close eye on its development. On Sunday, the first signs of trouble appear, with a low-end threat for hail and gusty winds across parts of the Midwest. While these storms may not be widespread or particularly intense at first, they serve as a warning that the weather pattern is shifting towards something more active. But this is just the beginning of a much larger and more impactful sequence of storms that will unfold over several days. By Monday, a complex dual low-pressure setup takes shape, stretching from Canada down into the Central Plains. This configuration is notorious for fueling widespread severe weather, as it draws in warm, humid air from the south and collides it with cooler air from the north. The result is a broad risk zone for severe storms, extending from Michigan all the way to Kansas. Residents in these areas should be prepared for rapidly changing conditions, including the potential for damaging winds, large hail, and even isolated tornadoes. As we move into Tuesday, the threat becomes even more organized and widespread, with severe storms possible from the Dallas-Fort Worth metroplex all the way up to Cleveland. Cities along this corridor could see intense lightning, torrential rain, and the risk of power outages. Damaging winds and large hail are likely, with some storms capable of producing hailstones big enough to damage vehicles and roofs. The force of the wind could bring down trees and power lines, making travel hazardous. And with the right ingredients in place, tornadoes are also possible, especially in areas where the warm and cold air masses collide most violently. This relentless pattern means that as soon as one storm system moves out, another is already lining up to take its place. The atmosphere remains primed for repeated rounds of severe weather, keeping communities on alert. Rapid changes in the sky will be common, with clear conditions quickly giving way to dark, threatening clouds and sudden downpours. The ongoing clash between cold, dry air from the north and warm, moist air from the south is the driving force behind this active pattern, ensuring that the severe threat remains elevated day after day. For residents across the plains and Midwest, staying informed is crucial. Monitor local forecasts, have multiple ways to receive weather alerts, and review your severe weather safety plans with your family. With the active pattern showing no signs of letting up, vigilance and preparation will be key to staying safe in the days ahead. Wednesday, May 6th, stands out as a potential high-impact day for Dixie Alley, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia. All severe hazards are possible: damaging winds, huge hail, and a significant tornado threat. Forecast models suggest conditions could be ideal for a dangerous outbreak. Details will be refined, but this day needs to be circled for anyone in the Deep South. Review your severe weather plan now. Know your safe place and have multiple ways to get warnings. By Thursday, the system moves offshore, ending this volatile week. The message: prepare now for a potentially major event midweek. Over the next 10 days, the United States will experience a striking and persistent temperature divide, splitting the nation almost right down the middle. This isn't just a minor fluctuation, it's a dramatic split that will shape daily life, weather patterns, and even the mood of millions of Americans from coast to coast. The eastern two-thirds of the country, including the Great Plains, Midwest, South, and East Coast, will remain noticeably cooler than average. This extended cool spell is being driven by a stubborn, low-pressure system that refuses to budge, keeping clouds and chilly air locked in place for days on end. Cities like St. Louis, New York, and Atlanta will feel more like late March or early April than mid-May. This unusual chill will have real impacts. Farmers may face delays in planting or crop growth, energy demand for heating could spike, and the clash of warm and cold air will set the stage for rounds of severe storms and heavy rain. Meanwhile, the West is enjoying a completely different story. Under a powerful high-pressure ridge, cities from Seattle to San Diego are basking in sunshine and warmth. Outdoor activities are in full swing, and the landscape is coming alive with early summer energy. This sharp east-west temperature divide is being driven by the jet stream, which has carved out a deep trough over the east and a pronounced ridge over the west. The jet stream acts like a giant atmospheric conveyor belt, steering storms and separating warm and cold air masses. Along this boundary, storms are quick to develop, feeding off the sharp temperature contrast. Expect to see frequent rounds of thunderstorms, some of which could turn severe, especially across the central states where the clash is most intense. As long as this pattern holds, the central U.S. will remain a battleground for volatile weather. Residents should stay alert for rapidly changing conditions, as the risk for damaging winds, hail, and even tornadoes will persist. So whether you're shivering on the misty Atlantic coast or soaking up the sun on a California beach, this national temperature divide will shape your plans and your weather for days to come. Stay tuned as we track how long this dramatic split will last, and what it means for your region. Looking ahead, don't expect a quiet May. This active pattern is likely to continue. The severe threat may shift, but the Plains, Midwest, and Ohio Valley remain at higher risk for storms. We may see more localized, intense outbreaks as smaller disturbances ripple out from the Rockies. Stay vigilant. This is peak severe weather season, and this year is especially active. Know the difference between a watch and a warning, and have a safe place ready. In summary, a persistent low is fueling two major storm systems, with severe weather for the Gulf Coast, Florida, Plains, Midwest, and Dixie Alley. Stay prepared, stay informed, and stay safe. We'll keep tracking it for you every step of the way.